Hello, my name is Victoria Guerrero, and this is my final exam review video. So to start off, the first question, which theories did I find the most impactful? The first being the theory that writing is a knowledge-making activity. This theory particularly spoke to me because it emphasized the idea that words on a paper, books, any type of any form of written media, you're not writing to think of the finished product. You're not writing to create like a material product, or you're not just writing to create a material product, but you're also writing so that your words, when people read them off of the paper, they can help create new ideas. They can help start thought-provoking discussions or inner dialogue thinking. Words shouldn't just start and end with being like a book and being like a physical copy that you can read and take at face value. They should, and if they're written well, like they should help you to formulate new ideas and new thought that you had not before you had read that piece. So the idea that writing is a knowledge-making activity really speaks to me, especially because during my project I wrote a lot about how feminist literature builds off of previous feminist texts, and each time like you read a feminist text, the purpose is that you're taking something away from it that you hadn't known before, and you're using it and evaluating that within your own life and your own experiences. So it's not entirely just meant to be, words on a paper. And then the second is writing expresses and shares meaning to be recognized by the reader. And this theory spoke out to me because a lot of times writers may have very specific intended meanings behind the words that they write, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the reader, who may have a very different life experience, will consume those words in the same way that the writer intended them to be. Sometimes, because of the things that we have in our own personal lives and our own personal experiences, when we read someone else's work, we sometimes may not relate to it, or we sometimes may relate to it differently. And that all goes to show that writing is subjective to each person who is either writing the words or reading the words. We all may have very different meanings behind specific texts. And the theory that I'll take with me into my other classes will definitely be that writing is a knowledge-making activity, because no matter what assigned reading I'm ever given in a class, I know that the purpose is so that I can take something away from that might not be something that I knew before. So the next segment for rhetorical choices is when I was thinking about my revised project, some rhetorical choices that I made in order to create a rhetorically effective project was I really had to understand the purpose of my project, the audience, and the genre that I wanted to use, because when evaluating those three things, the purpose, the genre, and the audience, I can tailor my project to fit my audience and the genre and the purpose, so that it is the most effective form of written text, so that it is effectively distributed, so that the words are effectively understood. It's really important to understand and be specific about those 3 things so that your writing can be the most effective that it can possibly be. And for my particular project, since I was tailoring my words surrounding feminist text specifically towards young people, I had to stop and think, well, what are young people gravitating more towards, especially when they are seeking something to read? What is a way that young people can receive written words quickly so that information can be disseminated quickly? And in what form of media could I utilize both of those things? And because of that, I had chosen the Instagram slide set, the photo slide set format, because I know that young people spend a lot of time on social media. It's where they are probably spending the majority of time. At least I know I spend the majority of time on social media, and I do learn a lot of different things on social media, particularly through that sort of Instagram slide set format that I wouldn't have otherwise, because I think that Instagram slide set format is very punctual, it's to the point, it's also very clear, and since it uses a lot less words, it's easier to like digest. And because of that, it's very popular amongst young people to be able to share to their stories, share with their friends, send it in messages to other friends, and to just be like, hey, I didn't know any of this information. Did you know? I just learned a lot from reading these like 5 slides really quickly. So that is why I chose to tailor my project using purpose, audience, and genre to create an Instagram slide set that I knew would be tailored towards young people. And for the last segment of the review questions, the most significant experience from taking this class was definitely learning about all the different writing theories. I can definitely say that before taking this class, I really didn't give that much thought into the process of writing. I really just like went in like feet first into just writing, but I never really stopped and like took a step back and thought about, hey, you know, like these words that I'm writing, you know, they derive from other words, and other words may have similar meanings, and just because I'm writing something doesn't mean that somebody's going to interpret it the same way that I'm writing it. And just the like various theories that we learned throughout the course were especially thought-provoking, because like I said, for me, writing has just been a very like get to the point kind of thing. Like you start writing and you finish writing, and somewhere in between you hope that your point is made across to the reader. But all of those theories that we learned within the class really helped me realize that writing is a lot more complex and a lot more sophisticated than I had previously thought or realized. What did I learn from my mistakes and failures? I definitely learned that writing is a never-ending process. There is no perfect way to write, and there is no way that I, as a writer and a reader, will ever know everything that there is to know about writing. There's no way, because it is a continuous learning process. I will continuously be learning new things about writing, and shifting and formatting my writing styles in between those times. So that's definitely what I learned from my failures and mistakes, that writing is a never-ending learning process. And what I learned from my successes was that writing should be fun, and it should be passionate. It should be something that isn't necessarily a chore, which I definitely have felt before in other previous times that I've had to write something. But the reality is that I should be writing about things that make me passionate. I should be writing about things that I know I like and I love, and I want to share that with the world. My words that I write should be something that I'm excited to share with the world. And for the last question, this is actually not my first writing class. It's actually going to be my last writing class because I'm a senior. But I really enjoyed the course, and I'm very glad that I got to take it during this summer session. And thank you for everything.